Well, hello and welcome to another edition of 907 Sports. Jordan Rodenberger calling the plays in this one, as it is the top sports story of the day around the state. Alaska's Gus Schumacher earning a silver medal at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy. This coming in the cross-country ski team sprint event. He teamed up with Ben Ogden to earn the country's first ever men's Olympic team medal, and it's really just the second Olympic medal in cross-country ski from Alaska, the first of course coming in 2018. Kikkan Randall gold, teaming up with Jesse Diggins in this very same event. We'll hear from Kikkan in a little bit, but it was an electric day, an electric performance by the Gus Bus, the service high grad, 25 years old, earning his first Olympic medal. The long drought of 40 plus years without an American male Olympic cross-country medal, that comes to a drought. These games, Gus Schumacher and Ben Ogden a part of that historic moment. Early this morning, it happened overnight in Italy, and so a lot of Alaskans waking up or staying up all night to check that one out, or waking up to the good news that Alaska has taken home its first medal of the Winter Olympics thus far. We did have to check in with Kikkan Randall, who's an Alaska Sports Hall of Famer. She's an Olympic gold medalist in this event, as I mentioned, in 2018, and she's actually an NBC broadcaster and was on the call for this one, so we had to get her reaction of the historic moment.
I am still jittering with excitement. That was an exciting call, an exciting race. Kind of knew going into it that those guys had an absolute shot at a medal. But I think what surprised me the most is how aggressive and just commanding they skied in that race. It was gutsy, but it was backed up with strength, and just absolutely so happy for those guys. Then going into the last lap, man, Ben just went for it, and he was leading up the course's big climb. Norway only slipstreamed past him on the downhill, but he put Gus in just a perfect position. So then on that final lap, they headed out, and Johannes Klæbo, now the greatest Winter Olympian of all time, was leading it out, but like Gus went with him. And that put Italy on their heels, Switzerland on their heels, Sweden kind of started to go backwards. And then Gus just power skated all the way in. So it just, those guys were like literally making moves that made the race. And yeah, Italy or Norway won, but I think it was USA that really made it exciting. And I think what makes me so excited and so proud right now is this silver medal that Gus is going to bring home to Alaska is now setting the stage for our, the whole next generation. And we have to remember that until Ben's silver medal a week ago, it had been 50 years since a U.S. man had won an Olympic medal. And now in the span of a week, we have two medals, or I guess you can almost say three. And so that's huge, and I think, it took 50 years, and then all of a sudden it's going to start happening sooner and sooner, because that power of belief is really important. And I think to the system, you can say we have a system now, because there's been multiple medals, and that's, really encouraging for our skiers. What I love about Gus's story is I got to talk to him before the season, and we were talking about, the Anchorage trails and how he grew up in Anchorage, and he was talking about being a junior Nordic kid, watching the high school skiers go by and kind of going, I want to be like that someday, because the high school skiers were the pinnacle at that point, and then he's built up. And so we have to keep that culture strong in Anchorage, use Gus's medal as inspiration so that we can create, future generations of more Olympic medalists, hopefully, but also just a really strong community that believes in healthy outdoor activity.
Kikkan Randall wears many hats, including the NSAA, Nordic Ski Association of Anchorage president, of course, Olympic gold medalist, broadcaster, etc. Her thoughts on Gus's historic performance, which building up throughout this winter, he was putting on incredible performances on the World Cup stage, and he felt maybe this is his year to break through and earn that medal, because this is his second go around. Last Olympics, he was 21 years old at the 2022 Games, and getting an interview with him in the pre-Olympic media rounds, he was saying he's just a different skier than he was back then, both mentally and physically. Mentally, he's wants to go toe-to-toe with the best, and then physically, he's actually taken a step back in his training, which actually has gone a long way to help them. So we'll have a lot more on Gus Schumacher, this historic gold medal. That was just part of our interview with Kikkan, which you can find later on our website. Extended version, we'll catch up with his former ski club, Alaska Winter Stars, as well as he is Anchorage and Alaska skiing through and through, growing up through there. And also going on in Alaska sports right now is the Iron Dog, which is right now in day 5, but there hasn't been action in every day so far. Yesterday, the teams were held up in Kotzebue when they got to that checkpoint, and then they were released at 6 a.m. this morning from Kotzebue, only to discover more troubles, which we will get to with Tyler Lane in a little bit, as we'll check in with him. He's at Nome, which serves as the halfway point, which is really like the 2/3 waypoint in terms of mileage. It's about 1,800 of the 2,600 or so. And gosh, these riders couldn't be more excited to get to Nome, which hopefully will be later today. But sea ice and the trail conditions becoming more and more of a problem, as they had to reroute a little bit today, and it's really just going through fresh, deep powder, including some willows and small trees. So they're like really inching along in a race that is known for its speed. They're really crawling their way to Nome, and all hoping to make it safely and in one piece here. As of course, we'll get updates through the 4 and the 5 o'clock and in the 6 o'clock broadcast on all things Iron Dog on day 5. But might as well get a check-in with Tyler Lane when we get here in just a few moments, as he gets in the Nome garage. He just spoke with the race director, so we'll get the latest from Tyler Lane here in a couple minutes. Tyler, let's see if we can bring him in just a few moments here. As day 5 Iron Dog is today, would have been wrench day typically on this Wednesday of Iron Dog, but clearly the garage is empty right now. They would be tooling up. That is not the case, as we will check in with Tyler Lane here from Nome. Tyler, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, and let's just hear the latest of what you got on this day 5 here. What you got from Nome?
Yeah, Jordan, for you, I'm looking down a lot because this is all information we've just been getting in the last few minutes and really throughout the day. But you mentioned it. I mean, this is supposed to be wrench day. This is supposed to be a day where, this garage here that is now empty, we would be seeing a bunch of wrenches turning and guys lifting all their machines and getting all their work done. Not the case today, and really what has been another wrench, so to speak, thrown in the Iron Dog Trail. Here's what we kind of know right now. So racers obviously leaving the Kotzebue checkpoint at 6 a.m. this morning. Everything looking good until they got past Koyuk, where it seems the ice went out around Elam. That's a trail obviously that they need to make it through from there. That ice went out. They weren't able to use that trail, and so they instead had to use an inland back trail heading toward White Mountain. That trail apparently is very narrow, with about 2 to 3 feet of new snow coming around in the Elam area. So that's what they're currently fighting through right now. That's why if you look at the tracker, you see that little bunch up. Team 14 was the first one there. They were with the Ambassador class for a while, and apparently they have been trying to break the new trail from there. A lot of other teams have been catching up. As of right now, racers are still expected in Nome tonight. We were told once they reach White Mountain, they'll be about an hour away from here, but really the question at the moment is, when are they going to get to White Mountain? How long is it going to take? And then from there, can these riders push through and really make it here to the halfway point? Now, as of right now, no schedule changes. The halfway banquet is still going to be going on for the trail teams and things like that. The race finish is still scheduled on time as normal. Standings, though, will shake up here just due to the course time and how things are everything shaking up. So that's going to be changing a little bit here in Nome.
So Tyler, hey, thank you. I know you got a lot more reporting to do in the next few hours, so we'll be checking in with you on these upcoming broadcasts. Iron Dog 2026. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. The world's longest toughest snow machine race, labeled that for a reason. Definitely living up to the hype this year. So tune in to our broadcast to both hear from Tyler and from our weather team about the latest conditions and what to expect. But for now, that'll do it for this edition of 907 Sports. Always get more on today's Alaska sports news in the late edition. So tune in, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.